Here we are again, another barre class, pretty similar to last week's, a sort of extended version this time. So let's get going. Okay, so all the same principles as you applied last week. You might want a chair, something, a wall that you can just use to help yourself to balance a little bit more. So feet hip socket width apart. We're just going to walk through the feet. So nice and slowly walking through the feet, really articulating through every little bone in your feet. And get a little rhythm going in your head, so you're counting that beat. Do a few more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now pause. And I want you to bring your heels together. Take your toes out. Remember, we make this turn out from the top of your thigh bone, rotating outwardly. We're going to bring the feet together, feet out. Feet together, feet out. I don't want you just to move from your feet. I want you to really feel that you're moving from your thigh bone. What you do with the other hand is entirely up to you. Try not to rock backwards and forwards. You're going to try and keep your body as still as possible. Keep the collarbones open, the shoulder blades nice and long and lengthened. Really feel yourself squeezing the upper inner thigh in towards your bottom. Let's do a couple more. And 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now you're going to hold it out here. We'll go down into a little plie. Make sure you're not too close to your chair. And down, up, down, up. So again, little principles to think about. You're going to think about your knee tracking over your big toe, second toe. Only going down as far as your heels do not lift. Be very careful if you know you're someone that does actually collapse in their arches. Only go as far as your foot remains nice and stable. So don't let your foot collapse inwardly. Are you still pulling up? Pull those inner thighs up. Imagine your seat bones. The seat bones widen. They pull together. They widen. They pull together. Widen. Pull together. Widen. Pull together. And down. 2, 3. Pull up. Down. 2, 3. Squeeze together. Down. 2, 3. Squeeze together. Down. 2, 3. Squeeze together. With a few more of these. It's just really teaching you the principles. 2, 3, and down. Now from there, we're going to lift up and lower. So we lift, lower, lift, lower, lifting, lowering. So I want you to really focus on your hip bones pulling backwards. Your tail is really long and lengthened. Your pubic bone a little forwards. Your collarbones open. Your shoulder blades beautifully lengthened. Softly down your back. That soft V shape that we always talk about. Lift, lower. Lift, lower. Lift, lower. A couple more. Lower, lift, lower. Now roll through the feet. Lift, bend, heels straighten. Lift, bend, heels straighten. Lift, bend, heels straighten. Lift, bend, heels straighten. Now the more weight at all. Across all 5 of your toes on each of your feet. Down, down. Your quads, inner thighs might be burning. Down and down. 2 more, 1 more, and all the way up. From here, out to the second position. So, keep those heels up. Down, up, down, up. We can add the 2 together. So let's see if we can stay wide, and then we'll come back to the first position that we had. 2 more, and 1 more. Then you come back, and back. So we go down, 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 and down. Then we go out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Back. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4. In. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4. In. 2. Out. 2. In. 2. Out. 2. In. 2. Out. 2. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. So really thinking all the time about your principles. Couple more. 3, 2, 1, and back. Holding it here. Lower, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift. Now I want you to pause. You're going to bring it back, and you're going to find one foot a little in front of the other. So we're into almost a 4th position. So I want you to see that we're still in this external rotation on both feet, but you have probably about half a foot's length between your heel and your big toe. So always registering that space. And so from here, all I want you to think about is the same little knee bend. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Tracking all the time, knee over big toe, second toe. Down, up. It's really all about your back leg. Down, up, down, up, down, 2, 3, lift 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 up, 2 more, 2, 3, lift up, down, 2, 3, lift up. Now pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All the way up. And I want to lift your front leg. Still in external rotation. Don't hike the hip. Keep it in external rotation. And down, lift, down, lift, down, lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Down, 2, 3, and straighten. Down, 2, 3, and straighten. Down, 2, 3, and straighten. Be careful you're not leaning back at all. Straighten. Keep those collar bones nice and open. Down, 2, 3, straighten. Last one, 2, 3, straighten. Now down, 2, 3, 4. We're going to 8, 6, 7, 8. All the way up. Place the foot down exactly the same on our toes. So down, lift, 2, great, 3, 4. Nice square shoulders. 5, 6, 7, 8. We go down for 3, 3, 2, 1. Straighten. 3, one. Pause. We're going to take that front leg up. Really think about your principles here. Take a little breather. Really think about your collarbones, your shoulder blades, the eyes looking straight ahead. And from here, we go down, lift, down, lift, down, lift. So my back heel is up, front leg is bent, hip is not hiked. Down, lift, weight across all 5 metatarsals in the foot. Down, lift, down, lift. 2 more, lift. 1 more, lift. 3, 2, 1, lift up. 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 1 more, 2, 3, lift up. Down for 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All the way up, all the way down. Shake your legs out. We're going to do that whole little series in 4th position on the other side. So we now have your other foot forward. So really make sure that you can feel that the leg that you've just worked is your leg that is in front. You've got your back leg in that position, in external rotation, about half a foot's length between your big toe and your heel. So my heel and my big toe are in alignment with each other. Whenever you're ready, we go down, lift, down, lift. This ankle might be stiffer than the other one. It might feel easier than the other one. Down, lift. You only go as far as the ankle joint will allow. Breathe. Up, down, and up. We'll do a couple more. 2, 1. Now, 3 and 2 and 1. Lift up. 3 and 2 and 1. Lift up. 3 and 2 and 1. Lift up. 3, 2, 1. Lift up. We'll do 2 more. 3 and up. Last 1, 2, 3 and up. Down for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All the way up. Slowly from there, you're going to lift that front leg up. So the front leg's still in external rotation. Don't let the hip hike. And down, up. Be careful you don't lean backwards at all. Keep those shoulders nicely positioned. Down, up, down, up, down, up. Keep breathing. Relax something. Down, up. Smile. Down, up. 2 more. 1 more. And we go down, 2, 3, and up. Down, 2, 3, and up. No grippy toes. You know who you are. Up, down, 2, 3, and up. Down, 2, 3, and up. Down, 2, 3, and up. Down for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All the way up. Bring that foot down. Come up off your heels. Both feet are down and down. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Keep tracking, remember, those knees over big toe, second toe, keeping your heels up. Down, up, down and up, down and up. 3 more, 2 more, 1 more. Down for 3, 2, 1, lift up. 3, 2, 1, lift up. 3 and 2 and 1, lift up. 3, 2, 1, lift up. 2 more sets. Down, lift up. 1 more set. Down, lift up. Now 8, 7, 6, 5, 2, 3, and up. 1, 2, 3, and up. 1, 2, 3, and up. Don't grip with your toes at all. Down, 2, 3, and up. And slowly from there, we're going to pulse, 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 pulse. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All the way up, take your foot down, shake out your feet. So just shake the feet out, shake the legs out. And from there, just do a tiny little bit of upper arm. I've got my gloves on. Do a little bit of the back of the arm. And you would take your hands onto your chair. Take your feet a little further forwards. You would slowly from there just bring yourself forwards. Try and keep your feet hip socket width apart. Collarbones beautifully open. Elbows go straight back. And lift. Now be really careful that your chair is safe. So working our triceps. Imagine you were sliding your back down a wall. Up and down. So really focusing on the length in the spine. And keep it going, keep breathing, keep feeling all 10 toes on the mat. Have a little breather if you need one. We'll go down, 2, 3, push up. 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 3 more. 2, 3, push up. 2 more. Down, push up. 1 more. Down, push up. All the way back onto your chair. Take a little moment. So we've done the back of the arm. We're going to use our mat. We're going to do a little push up. So carefully bring yourself down. That might be a roll down. That might be coming down one knee at a time, and we'll make it a little bit easier. If at all you feel that you need a bit more padding for underneath your knees, just roll your mat over it a couple of times. If you haven't got a mat, then just make sure that there's something comfortable underneath your knees. So from here, hands come a little in front of you. I'm going to let the hips fall a little forward, send the tail away from me, cross both legs over. And we're going to take really long lengthened spine again. So we're still thinking about that tricky part of the arm. And you're going to bring it down as far as you can, and you're going to push it up. Make sure those hands are directly underneath your shoulders. Maybe you just come a little way and you bring it back up. But you don't want your head to drop. So we come down and we bring it up. If you can, we go all the way down and we push it back up. All the way down. Push it back up. Can you do 4 more? Push it back up. 3 more. Push it back up. 2 and back up. Last one. 1. Push it slowly back up. Bringing it back. Take a little stretch. Really feel yourself stretching, stretching, stretching out the shoulders. And all the way back up. Maybe hold hand into hand. Lift your heart all the way out to the side. And from there, take a little stretch. Take your chair again. I'm going to begin. I'm just taking one foot on, over the other if you can. Lean a little forwards, try and get your back as flat as you can. Imagine you're pushing your breastbone forwards. Taking a little stretch in the hip in the performance. Pushing down into that knee if you can. If this doesn't work, you please don't do it. And we'll switch to the other side. Little stretch, push the breastbone forwards. Feel that hip opening. Making your back as flat as you can. And then slowly breastbone forwards. Take a little bend if you wish, if it's easier in the other leg. And again, I'm pushing my breastbone forwards. Try and pull those toes towards you. Really feel that hamstring stretching out. So we go to the other side. So breastbone forwards, collarbones open, big toe back a little. Hold and breathe. Really feel that hamstring. And then all the way back down. One last one if you wish. Hands down. Slowly from there, you're going to bring one leg back. You're going to bend. You're going to hold with the opposite foot. Lift up and pull back. And then slowly from there, we bring the other foot down and up and hold and pull back. So I'm pulling the knee back and lifting the knee as high as I can. It's a lovely stretch for your inner thigh. It's a lovely balance challenge. And all the way back. And that's it. Thank you so much. So, I've had a request for glutes, bottom, which is a really good thing to work on, especially after we've just done a bar class. It's all part of the legs and obviously the lower part of the body. But a really good thing to work on right now because we're perhaps sitting a little bit more than we might ordinarily do. So what I want you just to remember is that if you're sitting like so and your hip is in a flexed position, your bottom is not working. So the glutes over time, they deteriorate. So we really do need to work on the glutes, making them one of our strong extensor muscles. They are actually the back's main extensor muscles, so really important that we work them. So we're just going to do 2 or 3 little glute exercises. I'm going to use the chair because we had it anyway for the bar. And it also just makes life a little bit more almost fluid when we do our bridge. So we're going to come all the way down, and you don't have to use the chair if you don't want to. If you'd rather keep your feet flat on the floor, please do. But at the same time, also try and make sure that your chair is really sturdy. So whenever you're ready, arms are down by your sides, a little tiny bit of flexion through both of your ankles. Level pelvis, bottom ribs down, collarbones open, shoulder blades softly down your back. You're going to breathe, wind and pull into the back and the base of the lungs. And just before we begin, I want you to check that your foot position is good. So keep breathing. And you're going to make sure that your ankles, your knees and your hip sockets are in good alignment. Try not to push the toes forwards, relax the feet as best you can. A wide full inhale, and this time as you exhale, draw your hips very lightly backwards and just peel up through the spine. Peeling and peeling and peeling. And you'll feel the right point at which to stop. Remember, we always draw those ribs down and in, pushing the thigh bones forwards at the knees. Inhale at the top. And as you exhale, just melt the spine back down. This should feel really nice. And again, from neutral, don't throw the ribs, draw your hip bones lightly backwards. We're peeling and peeling and peeling, pushing those thigh bones forwards at the knees. Inhale at the top. And as you exhale, lay the bones back down. Keep those collarbones beautifully open. And we'll do one more. Inhale wide and full. As you exhale, draw your hip bones lightly backwards. Feel that you're almost massaging your spine. Keep those collarbones open. On an exhale, lay the bones back down again. Watch your feet aren't twisting. Very much a sequential placement of the bones. Now we could add a little bit of the arms into this to get even more deeply into the back of the body. So the arms come back and then lay those bones down, leaving the arms there until you find your neutral spine. And we'll just do one more, drawing it all the way back up, back up, back up, back up. Keep pushing the thigh bones forwards of the knees. And inhale as you bring your arms back. And an exhale, melt the spine. Keep the collarbones open all the way down, down, down. So to advance it a little bit, we're going to stay in neutral. We're not going to tip the hip bones backwards this time. You're simply going to lift up and you're going to lower straight down. Be careful of the ribs. Lift straight up, lower straight down. So the principles are exactly the same. Thigh bones pushing forwards of the knees, collarbones beautifully open, pushing that pubic bone up and away from you. Really feel that your sacrum reaches towards the backs of the knees. And lowering back down. And on this next one, you're going to hold it up here. And we're now going to think about your left leg being a little bit more of a stabilizing leg. That almost internal rotation invisibly of the left as you bring your right up. Now watch that your hips haven't dropped here. I want you to lower just a little and lift back up. Lower just a little, lift back up. Now if you're thinking, I'm just not feeling my bottom at all, you can make it a little bit smaller and really focus on pushing that thigh bone forwards. Make sure that the pelvis is absolutely level, left to right. You feel the same amount of palm on both sides. Now you can make it a little bigger if you wish. Lift, lift, lift. We'll do 2 more and lift. 1 more and lift. Now up here, holding invisible almost pulses. Up for 4 more, 3 more, 2 more and 1 more. Placing that right foot down. Make sure your pelvis is really level. Make sure the thigh bones are reaching forwards, almost an invisible internal rotation of your right thigh bone. Pick your left up. And we lower and we lift. And we lower and we lift. So the same careful form. Lift, lower and lift. You're pushing that right thigh bone forwards of your knee. Lower and lift. Lower and lift. So if you're not really feeling it, we'll make it smaller and lift. So the range reduces and almost we intensify it a little bit. Lift. Is the ankle, the knee, the hip, are they all in good alignment with each other? We'll just do 2 more and up. And last one, you're going to hold it up here as open through that right hip as you can manage. And we'll do baby pulses. And we do 4, 3, 2, and 1. Place that foot down and take your arms back for the last time. Really open the front of the hip and lay the bones sequentially down, 1 vertebra at a time. So you could just rest your legs. You could just hold here for a moment. You might want to hug your knees in. Perhaps circle the thigh bones around a couple of times one way, around a couple of times the other way. Perhaps even moving your spine a little from side to side. Now, I'm going to move the chair out of the way and we'll do our second exercise. So, popping that out of the way, we're going to come down and we're going to do a little bit of clam. So I want you to think about maybe intensifying this with a band. I've got a simple loop, it just makes life an awful lot easier. You might want to take a flex band and you might want to tie it together quite tightly so that you've got quite a firm loop in your flex band. You can do this with no band at all as well. And so we take it around the thigh like so. Positioning of your upper body again is very personal. So you might want to stay like so. You might want to stretch the arm out. You might even want to be in this position here. So from here, your knees are going to be stacked. Your feet are going to be stacked. Keep pushing that top hip bone away from you so that you're always lifted on the underside waist. You want to really have a long tail and make sure that this top hip is not hiked up towards your armpit. This hand can be here or it can be onto your top hip, encouraging that lengthening through the top hip. And all we're going to do initially is keep the feet together, open and close. We open and close. So I want you to imagine that you're working through the thickest treacle. Opening, 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 close, close, close. Keep breathing wide and full. Remember, if you're down here, you're also thinking about your form of the upper body, the bottom ribs, the positioning of the chin relative to the chest. Open and back. Now, things to look out for. Be careful that you don't make the range so big that you roll the hip backwards. So I want you to really make sure that you're only going as far as you can keep that hip absolutely stable. So we open and we close. Now we can alter it a little by lifting and lowering. So that's the entire leg. Lifts and it lowers. It lifts and it lowers. Lift and lower, lift and lower. Now keep looking at your knees. Do they align at the front every time that you bring that thigh bone down to the underside thigh bone? So make sure that you haven't rolled your hip back or forwards. That's a really good telltale, just to watch those knees and their alignment. And then you're going to pause. Now from here, we're going to go into a little internal rotation. So I've lifted the underside foot up, and again we'll lift and lower, lift and lower. Be careful the internal rotation has not altered the position of your top hip. Lift and lower and lift and lower. We'll just do a couple more, and lift and lower. So you can do as many reps as you wish. You might want to just repeat that over and over again. Or we can now lift up, we can take it back, we can take it down, we can take it forwards, we can take it up. We go back, down, forwards and up. Back, down, forwards and up. Back, down, forwards and up. We'll do two more. Down, forwards and up. One more. Down, forwards and up. And we'll go the other way. Down, back, up, forwards, down, back, up. So it's almost as though you're doing a little square. So if in doubt, take a visual in your mind of a square, pulling the back, up, forwards, and down. So see the four corners of the square in your mind. Keep breathing. We'll do two more. You can do many more reps if you wish. One more, up and down, and then you might reach that leg all the way up and just lift it and lower it, just loosening off a little. Lower, lift and lower, lift and lower. We'll do three and lower, two and lower, one and lower, just so we don't leave you really, really tight in the leg. Pushing yourself all the way up. I'm going to leave the band on. We come across to the other side. So remember, positioning here, more than welcome to be outstretched like so. Hand can be to here. You can always come up onto your elbow. I know everybody's neck is different. But remember, your setup is really important so that your knees are absolutely stacked on top of each other. Be careful you're not too clamped with your calf to your hamstring, and also not too long with the legs. So around about a sort of 90-degree angle there and thereabouts at the back of the knee. Top elbow, remember, pull it back a little bit to keep the chin off the chest, pushing that top hip away from you, and we'll simply open and close. If you have got the top elbow up here, make sure that it reaches straight up towards the ceiling and it's not rolling backwards and forwards. So remember, you are really visualizing that you're working your thigh bone here through a very thick treacly substance. So don't just collapse it down, pull it up. Really keep thinking resistance. Whether you've got a band or no band, it's still very relevant. Keep breathing wide and full. And lower and lift. And lower and lift. Lower and lift. We'll do one more and lift. Slowly from there, we're going to lift the whole leg up. Whole leg down. Whole leg up. Whole leg down. Really focus on that resistance. Keep the breathing. Keep the length from your tail to the crown of the head. Whether you're down here or not, all of those principles still apply. Keep the length in your spine, the bottom ribs absolutely drawn in softly throughout. We lift and we lower. We'll do one more, lift and lower. Now from there we go into an internal rotation of this top thigh bone. So we internally rotate, you're going to lift and you're going to lower. You're going to lift and lower. Still thinking about trying to align those thigh bones every time. Lower and lift and lower and lift and lower. I'm hoping you're feeling that bottom. Lower. We'll do 2 more. Lower. You can do as many reps as you wish. Lower. And then slowly from there, parallel legs again. We're going to do that little square that we did on the other side. Lifting it up, pulling it back a little, bringing it down and a little forwards. So it goes up, back, down, forwards. Up and back, down and forwards. Remember, band or no band, keep these really small. Lift, back, down, forwards. Lifting. And I'm always imagining that I have a little pea, a little grape, a little ice cube underneath my waist, not letting myself collapse. We'll make this the last one in this direction, then we'll go the other way. Back, up, forwards and down. Back and up and forwards and down. Back and up and forwards and down. Back and up and forwards and down. So really focusing all the time on the precision of your movement. I'm moving from my thigh bone, not really thinking about the lower part of my leg at all. So that is the knee to the foot. Lift and down. We'll do 2 more. Really think about that freedom in that thigh bone. Down, back, up, forwards and down. And then slowly from there, remember what we did on the last side, we just took that leg all the way down and we just did a little lower and a lift, a lower and a lift, keeping an imaginary glass wall against the sole of the foot. Lift and lower, lift and lower. We'll do 2 and 1, bringing it down and bringing it back. Now from there, I'm going to pop the band off. Just one last little exercise. We'll come onto our tummies. So it's nice to work again the hip in this extended position. We've done quite a lot of these, and we're just going to begin with hand over hand. Now you can keep it as simple as just a leg lengthen. Watch, you're not lifting off this hip bone, just quite literally lift and reach it away from you. So just pushing, pushing, pushing that leg and lowering it. Lift and reach. So if you were to lift that thigh bone and you were to prod into your glute, you can feel that it's taut, it is working. And again, reach, feeling that this one is working. But you're not coming off your hip bone. Every time that you lift the leg, you're looking for stability of the pelvis. Reaching and lowering. Reaching and lowering. So if you want to come into a little bit of extension of your upper middle back by lifting head, neck and chest, then please do. Push the length before you lift. Pushing the length before you lift. And we'll do 1 more and lower. Now slowly from there, we're going to work the bottom again, but this time in a little bit of an external rotation with your thigh bones. We're going to do our little heel beats again. So push the thigh bones long and lengthened, and then together, pulling the upper inner thigh in towards the bottom. We're going to beat those heels for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pause. And again, are you breathing? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pause. And again, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pause. And again, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pause. 2 more sets. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pause. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pause. Lower the legs, give them a little moment. Make sure your back isn't tight at all. Maybe just curl the tail in this position a tiny little bit away from you towards your heels, and then relax it. Last little exercise. So again, we don't need to add a lot of elevating the arms because that will just make it harder to stabilize the pelvis. You're going to breathe wide and full into the back and the base of your lungs. And you're going to lengthen one leg, just as you did earlier, and lower it back down. Lengthen the other leg, and lower it back down. Now lengthen the first and lengthen the second. So the more that you push length into those legs, push the pubic bone down a little into the mat to lighten your rib cage a little, relax your shoulders down your back. We're going to do a little swimming. So we'll slowly lift one thigh bone, reach the other away, and then we switch. And switch and switch, and it gets a little faster and faster and faster. And you kick, 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 kick from your thigh bones. Now the higher you lift the upper body, the more challenging you're probably going to make this. Also, if you allow your arms to hover, it makes it harder to stabilize the upper body as well. So keep kick, 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 kick. You can keep your hands down if you wish. Holding, breathing all the time, rib cage nicely drawn in. Kick, 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 kick for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And lower it down. You should definitely feel the back of the leg and the bottom. I want you to take your hands, push all the way up, and take a nice stretch like so. It might be that we come to one side, just pulling your opposite seat bone up and over your heel. Other side, opposite seat bone up and over heel. We can do that twice. And again, up and over. And then finally, just so we don't leave you with incredibly tight bottoms, we'll do a little piriformis stretch. So cross one over the other, figure 4. It may be that your arms are out, maybe this is enough for you. Rolling perhaps a little away from the direction that you are stretching. But if you can, we lift the underside leg up. So if you're stretching your right side, your left hand holds your right foot if you can. You would take either your elbow or your palm on the right into that right knee crease. Perhaps you have to use the palm because you can't reach with your elbow. Now I'm pulling my left thigh bone in towards me. I'm keeping my tail really long and lengthened. My entire spine is long and lengthened. I use a little bit of a lift of my left shin just to help me to pull that left leg in. And further intensity, roll away from the direction of the stretch. So if I'm stretching out my left, then I end up rolling, stretching out my right, then I end up rolling to my left, and obviously vice versa. And then slowly from there we do exactly the same on the other side. So you can begin, maybe this is enough for you, like so. Nice straight spine, really focus on the pelvis being as square as possible. But if you can, we intensify it by bringing it up. Remember, if you're doing your left now, it's right hand to left foot. Perhaps the elbow can touch that knee crease. Perhaps you need to use your palm. So if you're doing your left side, you've got your left palm or left elbow into left knee crease. Collarbones open, beautiful long neck. Pushing my tail and my seat bones away from you, almost allowing a little space under the low back. Lifting perhaps the right shin to enable me to pull the right thigh bone a little more inwardly. And a final intensifying movement would be to roll a little away from the direction of the stretch. So if you're stretching the left, you roll a little to the right. And again, bringing it across. And remember, with any breathing, you want to make sure that you are with any stretching, you want to make sure that you are always breathing. So always stretching after we've done those deep glute exercises. You can hug in again. Always a really, really good stretch, that piriformis stretch. So please do it as often as you can manage. And then we bring it all the way up. And to another video. Please send me any comments, please. If you want to work the bottom, if you want to work the abs, if you want stretches, if you want whatever, legs, arms, abdominals, please just give me any comments in the bottom or at the bottom of the YouTube video space, or just send me an email. Thank you so much. I hope you're all keeping well and look after yourselves.